Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo, and in this episode we're going to take a look at the solo mode for Pampero. I'm going to show you a couple of turns, I'm going to tell you what I think, and then hopefully you're going to see whether this game is right for you or not. Let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. If you have, I really do appreciate that support. Thank you so much. This game is quite the table hog. There is no doubt about it. I can't even come close to fitting it all in here in order for you to not see or see any kind of detail. So I'm just going to have the camera covering, I'd say, 80% of what you are dealing with. Okay, so there's some stuff that's cut off at the bottom here. I'll show you quickly, like the amount of energy that I have over here and my full set of the action cards and costs and such, and some of the tower bonuses and things. There's just a ton going on, okay? Now, the way this game, the theme of this game is that you are supplying power to the Uruguay countryside via building wind power plants, fulfilling solar contracts, even though you're not really building anything in that regard, and then building the infrastructure and network in order to complete these contracts. And the contracts vary from domestic contracts to special card contracts to these other contracts here, which have to do with solar, to these other ones here, which are a little bit more abstract, to foreign markets, all sorts of different ways that they call these contracts. And so I think they were trying to go for a thematic push on that one. And so you do get to supply just about everything. You can also supply other countries, like I said, through the cards. And the way you're doing that is you're building wind farms to generate power. But the way the power works is it's kind of, well, I say this, the power is available to you anywhere you need it, but you need to have these distribution networks, the towers, in order to sell into those markets. So even though I can build a power plant over here, I can't fulfill any markets over here unless I build a distribution network with one of my distribution towers, okay? And so there is a lot going on in this game. It is a heavy game, there's no doubt about it. However, luckily, once you understand what's going on, the game, the rule lookup and stuff goes down substantially. So instead of having tons and tons and tons of different steps you have to memorize, you have to learn how to read the language of these cards, okay? And the rule book does a good job speaking to you about the language. What it does is it gives you icons that will match up with spaces on that board that I showed over here. And those icons will, when paired with other things, tell you how much things cost, how much power they generate, what the requirements are, etc. And then the center of the card dictates what action you're doing, okay? And then the top of your area here, this is kind of like your payout. So these are the places you supply power, and you get regular payouts throughout the game at the end of every turn by who you're supplying power to, and how much depends on how many contracts you fulfilled in that regard. The same thing goes for the AI, VJ in this game. He does the exact same thing you do, and it is very similar. He takes very similar actions to you, except he is dictated, his actions are dictated by 3 cards that are very complex to understand until you understand them. And then it still takes a little bit of head scratching, but you will get it, okay? So these cards have a lot going on here. There's no doubt about it. But these checks and X's and other things are the key to knowing if it's this, then do this. If not, move to the next step, etc., etc. These cards are always the same depending on which contracts are out. So this card corresponds to this contract, this one to this one, and this one to this one. I'm sorry, not contracts, which end round scoring cards. They're not end round, they're scoring phase cards, pardon me, gosh. Anyway, those are out. That dictates what he's going to do, because he is trying to basically win all the majorities here and score 45 points, or dollars, or pesos, I guess, in this game, and deny you those 45 pesos, okay? That's what he's doing. Plus, he earns regular income throughout the game through his contracts, and he will earn end-game contract scoring also in other ways for different things that he's picked up. So very similar to you. But what's good about it is once you understand what he's going to do in these cards, you know the flow, okay? So it's not like you have to, it's a little bit easier instead of trying to put together two different cards as an automa and see this one means this and what does that mean, it's like, okay, look, I can understand this situation, I can understand this direction, I'm going to use these. You can even fix it that way, and you can even set it up to try to beat him in certain configurations if you really wanted to try to see if you can outwit him. But he's going to play a very optimally strategized game, and you're going to try to figure out how to outfox him in this game, okay? Now, there's a lot of intricacies that don't need to be explained here because it's not going to help you understand, I guess, the feel of the game. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a full round of actions, and then because of where I am in the game, I'm right at the midpoint. I'm actually further than the midpoint. I'm going to go into a scoring round. You're going to see that, and then you'll kind of get a good feel, okay? So what am I doing right now? Well, I ought to be focusing on getting B1 contracts, but he beat me to those pretty soundly over here. He has 3 B1 contracts. There's none left, as a matter of fact, because this is a foreign contract. So this one doesn't help me. So I am locked out of this goal right here. And so I need to start focusing on other things because I'm already going to lose this 15 points. So I should focus on maybe office or commercial contracts, or maybe building more wind farms. And actually doing both of these will go in concert with one another, because in order to get these contracts, I'm going to have to build more wind farms anyway. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And so in order to do that, I'm going to scan the board quickly and see, where are my commercial contracts? Well, there's a lot of them down here in C. There's one over there in A2. There's a little bit over here, not much. Okay, so really, I want to focus my efforts on C. C is also the most expensive place to go throughout the game, so it's kind of tough to afford that. And I'm not exactly swimming in cash, but I got a little bit to work with, okay? So you always take the first turn. You're going to choose a card, you're going to play a card. Whenever you play the card, you have to pay the cost of the card. And then you take the action, and sometimes the action has a specific cost in addition to the cost of the card. But those two things are independent. You have to pay for activating the card, and then you do the action on the card, which may have its own fees, okay? These that show the orange mean it's going to relate to a certain region in the board. These that don't, it happens anywhere you want, okay? So what I said was I want to be able to do some work out here, and since I know I'm gonna need money, I'm gonna play this card. This is a special card I got earlier, and it's gonna allow me to sell my 5 power for, in this case, as I put this down here, $17. So I can trade these in one action. This is an action here. And I just moved my power thing 5 spots. I'm gonna get 17 bucks. And that's actually a pretty decent payout, all things considered. Now I have enough money to afford a lot of C actions. Plus, the further you go right on this board, the cheaper the actions in these regions get, which is good. Now what's he gonna do? Well, he's already beating me in contracts, so he's not gonna do that. He's beating me in windmills by 2, but he's only beating me on the condition, the office condition, by 1. So he's going to focus on that. So the first thing he's going to try to do is, does he have any transformers that are unlocked? Yes, he still has 1 transformer that is unlocked. In fact, I think I goofed this up. This should be over here from a previous turn. It doesn't matter. I just goofed it up. I put it right there, but really it doesn't flow down there. It goes across first and then over. So he has 1 contract that is unlocked, or I'm sorry, he doesn't have one. So I'm going to go ahead and build this this specific generating station or I need to get to this generating station in order to fulfill those contracts, right? So in order to do that, I've got to unlock it with a tower. So he's going to build a tower. So I put his little thing over here. And where does he want to build? Well, he'd like to build an A if he can, okay? If A has any of the distribution tokens out there already for the office things. Well, it just so happens it doesn't. It has this, but that doesn't really completely count as one thing he goes after. So he's going to avoid A, all right? Then he's going to look for the next thing. The next thing on this one says B1. Well, B1 is full. Now he goes to C. All right, so he's going to build in C. He doesn't have to worry about bulldozers or anything like that. He just basically builds where I'm not. He builds that in C. And then he's going to take the tower. He's going to take 3 of the tower bonus tiles that are in the C row, and he's going to try to grab this one, as a matter of fact, because that's where the icons line up. So he gets these 3, and they're all going to be helpful for endgame scoring. And let me make sure, because he has a little bit of a different way. Yeah, these are all end-game scoring, and then this thing allows him to build. What does he do with this one? This one doesn't look like it shows up. This is a double tower. So I'm going to assume it works for him. So when he builds wind towers, he can build a second one. I don't know what it doesn't actually show up on his key. So we're just going to assume, oh, it does show up on that. So that means in spot C, he will build 2 wind towers whenever he builds. There are some certain vagaries in the solar rules that make it a little bit questionable. So you can work that through. The designer is also very active on the forums that can help. So that's good. Anyway, he's done. He took those, he grabbed those things. It's good. Boom, he's done. Now it's back to my turn. And again, I get 3 per round. So I'm still trying to build up my situation here. So I want to build, I'm going to put my guy here. I want to build a wind tower, okay? And the best card for me to do that, I've got 2 of them that do it. I'm going to build a wind tower. I'm going to build it in C. It's going to cost me that $17 that I just got. Let's get 17 or 3 back. Plus, I'm going to add an extra power to it because these are these connection tokens, and I started with 1. So that means that I can put this over here where my bulldozer. Oh, I have a. Well, I guess I can't do that right away. I can do because, and the reason I can't is because my bulldozer is not in the right spot. He is in a spot which is for towers only. So I'm going to change up. I'm going to build my tower first. So I'm going to put this over here. It still costs me the $17. And then I'm going to move this over here because you move it right after you build a tower. The tower goes right there. Now I can fulfill the contracts there, which is good. And then I get to choose 2 from the C location. In my case, it has to be horizontally adjacent. And I know I want this one because this is going to save me some money. Since I already took 1 of these, I'm going to take this, and this is going to save me. I want to pay 15 back instead of 30. And since I took that from right there, I have to take this. Or I could take an income. This one says 2 times at the end of the game, 2 times the number of towers I built. Well, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's better than anything I've got going on. I'm happy about that. I'll take it. All right. So that was my second turn. Now my third, he's going to take his second turn. Again, the conditions are all the same. He wants to try to get more office. Now that he has one of those contracts unlocked, he goes to this spot. Do you have enough power to buy a contract? Well, yes, he does have enough power to supply a contract in this region. So he's going to go to this spot. He's going to supply a contract. He's going to find one that's office building based first. He's going to start in A. We've already determined there wasn't anything that he could really do in A. Then he goes to B. Then he goes to C. Okay, so C is where he's going to fulfill his contract. Actually, I may have done that a little bit wrong because A was completely open. He probably would build an A first because, and that's, see, these things can be a little confusing. See, this is A, it doesn't say A1, 2, or 3, it just says A. So he would have done that first, and instead of getting these, my gosh. Sorry for the backup, folks. See, this is just me being a little bit not quite as proficient as I ought to be. He's really going to build that over here. So when he builds it over there, now he's over in A, and the ones he's going to take would be the one for the batteries. So he's going to take this, this, and this. And so what that does for him is, let's see, park one of his bulldozers over here, so he gets in the leftmost, topmost available spot, and so he's just going to get those 3 energy. 1, 2, 3. So he got that. Then the other one was with the battery here, and he's going to save that for the end almost assuredly. I'm sure that's on there someplace. Oh, it does go in this slot, so yeah, that's good. And then he has this one for the B slot, which will make it cheaper for him, I believe, to build in B. Oh, that's actually scoring. So there's a lot that you might encounter that you haven't necessarily encountered from game to game, and some of these tower bonuses and such fall into that category. So he did that. Now, where is he going to build in this turn? He's going to unlock that contract. He's going to get this contract right here. This contract has an office spot to it and a residential. When he gets that, he's going to boost the office, boost the residential, and then he's going to put this in that first unlocked spot over here. And he normally get $3 extra, but I already paid him for that because of my earlier mistake. But then this goes out here, and that costs him 2. All right, 1, 2. Now, because he has a linked contract, he will also, if he could, fulfill that other linked contract. However, this is all locked, so he can't do that. So that other one stays where it is. It's not linked, or he's not able to do it. So my final move now, I would like to build and get some power, okay? So we're going to go back to what I said before. We're going to build this wind farm. We're going to build it, and it's going to cost us $14. So we're going to get 6 back. We're going to build that wind farm on this spot right here, and it is going to generate, according to this card, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus, I'm going to play this one down here to get 1 more power out of it, and you're going to see why in a second. All right, so that's 5 power. That's my 3rd turn, and since he, by the way, went up on this track, now he's at level 2. I'm at level 2. We're tied for the 3rd condition. So he's going to still focus on this because he wants to beat me. However, he's locked behind another tower, so he's going to have to build another tower. And in this case, where is he going to build a tower? He's going to build it where there's contracts available, which means right here, okay? And then he's going to take that C row like he did before. All right, we're going to put these things where they belong. All right, and that's his 3rd action. Okay, so now we're finished. Now what we do is we go to the consolidation phase, which is kind of like a reset. I'm going to push my markers off, push his action markers off over here. Then I get to choose one of my cards that's furthest to the right in the top or the bottom row. In this case, I only have cards in the bottom row, so I return that one, and I get to return this tile, this connection tile to it as well. Then I get to generate batteries, as does he. So the way to generate batteries, you look over where your power is, and you look over here at the first open icon, and you see there's 2 battery icons, so he's going to generate 2 batteries, and I have up here 2 batteries. I'm going to generate 2. I can use these batteries to pay for certain actions later, or they can sometimes help in scoring conditions and such, but I already got those done. All right, I don't have any of those out right now, I should say. And this one was there, right there. But they also work, and this is where it's really important, in these foreign contracts. And those are really good and very powerful to do, okay? In order to do those, you have to have a tower in there, and then you have to play this card with this globe on it, and that'll let you do that. All right, now we get our income. Well, I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 from those. And he has 6, 9, 11, 12, 13 for his. So he's already been outscoring me. I was keeping up with him for a little bit, but there we go. All right, those go down. Now, we then move my time marker over 1 spot. And if this marker is on a scoring spot, which it is right now, we then execute the scoring round. The way the scoring round works is in the B phase, or in the 2nd phase, you score the bottom majority. We've already determined that he has 3 contracts in the B1 spot, which is what these are for, to my 0. So he's going to get $15 right away. All right, so he does that. Change here. And then that's all that happens unless you have scoring cards you want to play. He holds on to those scoring cards till the end, so he's not going to play them, and I don't have any scoring cards. But as you can see, it says whoever satisfies the condition gets the most, or gets the 15. If nobody has more, if it's a tie, no one gets the reward. Then you do the scoring cards, and you flip income markers. You flip income markers because some scoring cards make you flip them so you can't double score them. Okay. Now then, we are done with this round. He will no longer evaluate the B contracts at all. He will just ignore that because we're finished, okay? And then what we would do is we play another round, 1 more round, and then we'd score everything for the end of the game, and the game would be over. And in these cases, on these cards, you score the top and the bottom. Some of them are conditioned for I've got this many towers in A, I get $5 per tower. This would be I have this many contracts, not counting solar, then I would get 3 per contract. And he scores the same thing as well. And then you score your solo contracts as well. So the money that you're spending is actually the point in this game, and so you're trying to make the best investments you can. You don't want to waste any money because that's what you're going to be using for your score at the end. All right, a couple things that didn't happen. You can get different action cards. You can get different scoring cards if you play the right things, get the right rewards. You can, if you unlock both sides of contracts around these, you'll get one of these connection tokens, which you can play like you saw me play on these spots right here. And then, of course, we didn't score any of these, but I talked to you about it. And then the solar contracts are pretty simple. You basically play something that allows, well, there's special cards that let you do it, or there's other ways to get them to be played, and then you can take those contracts. The last thing you could do is you can park your bulldozer in these spots to get a one-time bonus, and that's it. Your bulldozer is necessary, like when I was talking, but when I built this here, I have to move that bulldozer to a different space. Considering what I'm going to be doing at the end, I'm probably going to want to build another wind power plant, and I also should have updated my wind power since I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now, and he has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is a bit to keep track of. There's no doubt about it. Again, this is a heavy game for sure. But if you're fans of this type of game, economic, power, those kinds of things, or a Lacerda, you're going to find that this feels right at home. So let me go ahead and tell you what I think about it. Okay, so Pampero is one of those games, or Pampero, I'm not sure how you say it, or Pampero. Anyway, it's one of those games that you have to put some investment into, but I believe the rewards are worth it. I really like these types of games, plain and simple. I knew it as I was playing it for the first time, like this is my kind of game. I also got slaughtered in my first couple of games as well because VJ, the opponent, plays very, very challengingly. He plays like the perfect game. He's not I shouldn't say the perfect game, but he plays a very, very competitive game. He's not constrained by money. He's not constrained by which cards he has. He just basically focuses on those majorities and has a laser focus there and will try to knock you off those spots. And so you've got to be sneaky about how you do it. It's basically like you don't want to overachieve until you're ready to make a big push, okay? And I have not cracked the case yet on that, but it's definitely possible to do so. I just haven't figured it out. There's a lot of reward in this game. You do this, you get this. You do this, you get this. You do this, you get this, which is really cool. But the variety can be a little confusing. As you saw me kind of stumble over a little bit of those tiles, what do they do? Some of them do different things for him versus you. However, it is nice that they did a great job with an awesome player aid for the actual player. It's got everything you need to know in here. I really wish they had one just as thorough for the solo. The solo rules are intact, but like I said, they leave some things vague out. They're vague, okay? They don't really talk about how you go through the scoring in particular. They assume that you're going to go through the scoring as normal, which is fine. They just kind of gloss over that a little bit, okay? They also, they did a decent job talking about the anatomy of the solo card, but it still takes some serious thought of how do I really interpret these conditions? What's really going on here? And some of them are very complex annotations about how to read them. It's like this one has 3 different little icons on it. Exactly what does that really mean? And they identify most of it here. I just think it could have been flushed out a little bit more. It's almost like I wish there was a compendium that said, in English or in whatever language you speak, this is exactly how you read this card. Left to right, this is exactly it. And you know who did that a really good job with that? That was Voidfall. They took complex cards with a lot of iconography and they spelled it out for you, word for word, line for line, exactly what it does. You could read the card and you could follow it. And I almost feel like this game could use that. It could use a language description of what's going on here. Once you figure it out, you're in good shape, but there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's all those conditions to score. You've got a lot to figure out. So I'm not complaining. I love the fact that the designer put in the effort to make a solo game, because I love this game. I love the theme. I'm so happy to be able to experience it. So please don't take what I'm saying as a criticism. I just need a little more help. And if the designer has time and he wants to flush this out and he wants to do that, that'd be fantastic. I would definitely download that kind of description of exactly what's going on. Because, I mean, just, again, there's a lot of similarities, but you just look at all these conditions you have to do, and it's just, it takes some understanding. It's like you've got to learn how to speak this language. And the one problem I have with that is I play a lot of games. And so I know that after I play this game for a while, I'm going to play something else for a little bit. And then I have to relearn the language. And that's going to be a bit of a drag. So maybe I'm going to be playing this for a while. I like the game. I want to get better at it. I suck at it right now. But maybe between now and the time I actually get it out again, someone will have scripted out exactly how to do each of these cards. That'd be fantastic. That is my only real gripe about it. It's a competitive game. It's challenging. It's got lots to explore. It's got tons under the hood. There's lots of things you can do. There's strategies that I can see they're here. I just don't know how to get to them yet. There's a ton of different things that you can pull off. I also wish the solo mode was compatible with some of the other things that came in the Kickstarter, like the 2 expansions. It seems to me, and I don't know this for sure, but at least you could probably, to give yourself a competitive edge, play with the starting companies, the specialty companies that change your setup and give you a benefit, just to be a little more competitive against a solo. In fact, I would say that's what you do. Now, some people have said, well, you probably could give him $25 to start. Maybe that's true. I don't need him to take that kind of lead. If I was beating him regularly, maybe I would. But I think that that's a little thing you can do, and you probably just, tighten that competition up a little more, giving you an advantage. It doesn't seem like you can do anything with the special distribution or the nature yet, or things like that, but maybe that'll come out in the future. It'll be a way to adapt it. Either way, there's still a lot going on here. There's plenty to discover. And also, even though this game takes about, I'd say, an hour to an hour and a half to play, it certainly does not feel like it drags, because those scoring phases, like all of a sudden, boom, I'm scoring. Oh no, I'm scoring, it's over. It's like it's the standard game, it feels almost rushed in that regard. You have to be very focused on what you're doing, because for the most part, I think you're going to have to take one of the turns to grab all your cards back, which I didn't demonstrate here. And when you do that, then you have to move your action marker 1 on the time track, which means you're going to effectively cut a round out of the game. You're sacrificing 3 actions to bring all your cards back. Actually 4 actions, because you don't get much on that turn in the first place when you do that. So anyway, all things considered, I think this is a great game for people who like heavy games, for people that like Lacerda games. It was obvious the designer even credited the help that he got from Mr. Lacerda in this, and you can feel it come through, not just because of the tool artwork, but also the type of heavy game that it is. It's not overly impossible to learn. You just have to learn how to speak this iconography. Once you do that, you got it. Thanks so much again for watching. I really hope this video helped you understand if this is something you want to do, want to get into, or something that's not for you. I don't think this will be a game for everybody. I think it'll be too much for some people, or it'll hit that sweet spots for others. I don't think anybody is going to say, I'd like something a little bit heavier than this. This is good. It's got a good amount of Euro solo meat to it, Euro multiplayer meat too. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And whatever you decide to do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.